Hey everyone! Did you know there's a small group of people who've managed to keep their unique language and culture alive for thousands of years, even while surrounded by powerful kingdoms and modern countries? These amazing people are called the Basques, and their story stretches all the way back to ancient Roman times. Old Roman writers like Strabo and Pliny wrote about them and the nearby tribes. Even back then, the Basques were speaking their own early language, something that doesn't sound like any other in Europe. During the Middle Ages, the land between the Ebro and Garonne rivers was known as Vasconia. This wasn't one big country, but a mix of mountains, valleys, and forests where different Basque communities lived. These people were constantly caught in the middle of powerful groups, like the Visigoths from the south, Arab armies marching north, and Frankish knights pushing in from the north. By around the year 1000, Vasconia had split into smaller regions like Sol and Laborde in what is now France, and Castile, Pamplona, and Aragon in what is now Spain. Out of this mix of small kingdoms and counties came the Kingdom of Pamplona. This kingdom later became known as Navarre, and was one of the most important places for the Basque people. Over time, however, Navarre was pulled into the politics and wars of bigger neighbors like Castile, Aragon, and France. In the late 1100s, Castile took away its access to the sea, leaving Navarre stuck between mountains and rivals. At the same time, different powerful Basque families began fighting each other in brutal battles, called the War of the Bands. These fights weakened the kingdom, and by the early 1500s, most of Navarre had been taken over by Spain. But the northern part, which was on the French side of the mountains, became Lower Navarre and joined France by 1620. For a long time after that, the Basques in France still had a lot of freedom to run their own affairs. They kept their old laws and customs. But things changed during the French Revolution in 1790, which tried to make all parts of France the same. In Spain, the Basques lost many of their special rights during the Carlist Wars of the 1800s. Today, on the Spanish side, the Basque Autonomous Community includes the provinces of Álava, Biscay, and Gipuzkoa. Navarre is a separate area with its own government and rules. Over in France, Basque provinces like Laborde, Lower Navarre, and Sol became part of a larger area called Pyrénées-Atlantiques. In 2017, these French Basque areas finally got their own local government group, but not full independence. So what is the Basque country like today? On the Spanish side, there are around 2.1 million people living in the Basque Autonomous Community. The biggest cities are Bilbao in Biscay, San Sebastián in Gipuzkoa, and Vitoria-Gasteiz in Álava. Spanish is the main language people use, but about 1 in every 3 people also speak Basque. This is because of strong efforts to teach and protect the language, especially after it was banned during the time of Spanish dictator Franco. Navarre has about 600,000 people, and its capital is Pamplona, which is known around the world for its famous bull running festival. In Navarre, only the northern part uses Basque in schools and government offices. The rest of the region mainly uses Spanish. In the French part of the Basque country, which people call Iparralde, about 250,000 people live there. Most of them are near the coast in towns like Bayonne, Anglet, and Biarritz. A long time ago, almost everyone there spoke Basque. But now, most people speak only French. Even though many locals want signs and services to be in both French and Basque, the French government hasn't made Basque an official language. So, the number of Basque speakers in France keeps going down. Even with all these changes, many Basques have moved to other parts of the world over the years. Some left for economic reasons, while others went looking for adventure or to escape war. A lot of Basques ended up in South America. In countries like Chile, Argentina, and Colombia, many people still have Basque last names. In fact, in Chile, it's believed that a huge number of early settlers were Basque. Some historians think nearly half of the immigrants to Chile in the 1600s and 1700s were Basques. In North America, cities like Boise, Idaho, and Reno, Nevada, are famous for their strong Basque communities. They hold festivals every year to celebrate Basque food, music, and dance. In California's Central Valley, you can still find Basque restaurants and boarding houses that remind people of the past. The Basques in the United States came from both Spain and France, and they brought their traditions with them. From high mountain villages to busy cities across the world, the Basques have done something truly impressive. They've held on to their ancient language, their customs, and their strong sense of community, even while living through wars, foreign rule, and migration. And what really makes the Basques special is their culture, and it all begins with their language. Their language is called Basque, or Euskara, and about 1 in 4 people in the region speaks it. It's a big part of who they are. In fact, people who speak Basque often call themselves Euskaldun, which just means Basque speaker, and they call their homeland Euskal Herria, or Land of the Basque Language. A long time ago, both Spain and France tried to stop people from using Basque in schools or official places. But the language didn't go away. It came back strong. These days, it's being taught in schools, written on road signs, and even used in newspapers and websites. Most Basque people now speak both Basque and either Spanish or French. There are hardly any people who speak only Basque, but a lot of people still feel proud of the language, even if they also think of themselves as Spanish or French. Another thing that connects Basques is their land and homes. The word etxea means house, but it really means more than just a building. It means family, roots, and belonging. Traditional Basque houses are called baseri, and they were like small farms where families lived and worked together. These homes were so important that many Basque last names come from the names of the farms. For example, Bengoetxea means house down the valley, and Goikoetxea means house on the hill. When it came to passing down land, the oldest child usually got the farm, while the younger kids had to find work somewhere else. This kept the family farms together, but also led many Basques to move to other places, where they became explorers, missionaries, or even conquerors. Food is another big part of what makes Basques proud. Their cooking uses fresh food from both the sea and the mountains. In modern times, Basque men have started special cooking clubs called toko, where they meet to cook, eat, and enjoy time with friends. In spring, special cider houses called sagardotagiak open up. They serve fresh apple cider straight from big barrels and serve tasty food with it. Even after tough times like factory closures or political troubles, the Basques didn't give up. Instead, they put energy into saving their language, making art, and creating new ideas. Big cities like Pamplona, Bilbao, and Bayonne started using Euskara more in schools, theaters, and newspapers. Religion has also been a big part of Basque life. Most Basques have been Roman Catholic. They've even given the world some important religious people, like Saint Francis Xavier and Ignatius Loyola, who started the Jesuits. There was a short time in the 1500s when some Basques followed the Protestant Church, and the Bible was even translated into Basque. But Catholicism stayed strong. Today, more than half of Basques say they're Catholic, though fewer go to church regularly, and many young people say they don't follow any religion. Before Christianity, the Basques had their own stories and beliefs. They believed in a goddess named Mari, who lived in mountain caves and could control the weather. Her partner Sugar could create storms. There were also stories about giants called Gentilak, water spirits, witches, and a clever little trickster named San Martin Tsiki. All of these legends made up a rich mythology. In the countryside, you can still find old stone structures called dolmens. No one knows for sure what they were used for. Some think they were for burials or used as shelters. Back in the Middle Ages, Basque villages worked differently from other places in Europe. In each village, the heads of families would meet in front of the church. These meetings were called elicites. Together, they would choose someone to represent their town in big meetings called juntas generales. Unlike in many places, most of the land was owned by the people, not by kings or the church. And women had more rights here too. They often managed the home, helped make legal decisions, and were respected in the community. All of these things, language, land, food, religion, legends, and how they ran their towns, are what make Basque culture so unique. And even today, from small mountain villages to big cities around the world, Basques keep these traditions alive.